Welcome to the Theater of Others podcast. My name is Adam Marple, and I'm the co-artistic director of the Theater of Others. With the COVID-19 pandemic forcing a shutdown and reevaluation of space and gathering, we at the Theater of Others are thinking about what stories we need and how best we can share them. We believe space is psychology, and it informs the way in which an audience interacts and reacts to what is presented to them. We create uniquely theatrical events in bespoke sensory performance spaces crafted to encourage curiosity and grant the audience permission to commune with the play. Now that space has moved online, how can we encourage interaction and action amongst an audience virtually? The Theater of Others produces plays that both welcome and challenge the audience. We are committed to international collaboration and are a laboratory that helps artists grow through intensive study of their craft. The Theater of Others creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purpose of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task, and it requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? On the podcast today from Melbourne, Australia, are co-artistic directors Budi Miller and myself in Cairo, Egypt. This podcast contains explicit language.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Budi.
What time did you get to bed last night?
11:30.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm tired.
Wait, you went to bed at 11:30,
Yeah.
and you're in a cardigan.
hmm
You went to bed at 11:30. It's 7, so you had 8 hours.
That's not how time works, no.
7.5 hours.
There you go.
You know I only have 6 days in my week.
It's true.
Am I gonna have to send you super positive wake up energy or what?
Do whatever you want to do.
Ew. How was your day yesterday?
The day yesterday was fine. It was very, very empty day, I think. The days are all just rolling into themselves right now. I'm in a holding pattern, it seems. So it's all just a whole lot of nothing. A lot of meetings in the morning, and then just a whole lot of nothing for the rest of the day.
Rolling in the deep.
Sure, trying to. That'd be nice.
Rolling with the
roll in the deep.
homies.
Definitely not rolling with the homies. There are no homies around. It's just me.
Oh, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
Where's your hat?
I lost my hat.
Oh,
Yeah.
your Theater of Others hat?
No, I know where that is. That's in Egypt.
Your corn
right now.
hat?
No, I still have my corn hat.
What hat?
I had a gray hat. I had a gray hat that I used to wear all the time. I lost it.
The beanie?
No, I don't wear beanies. Beanies don't look good on me.
You used to when you were in Egypt.
No, I was in Mexico when I wore that beanie.
Oh.
It was pointed out to me that it made my head look very, very big.
Who said
Bigger
that?
than it already is.
Who said that?
People.
How very dare they? You do not have a
Exactly.
big head. You
I
have
got
a very
big head, don't
handsome
lie.
head. You have a handsome head.
My head is. I have a big head.
Do you?
I have a big head. Oh yeah.
You have a big forehead. Oh. I had you. This is my voice teacher from acting class, Donna Jermaine, and she said that The correct way to pronounce forehead is forehead.
I will
You
begin with
have
that.
a large forehead.
Right, because that's a
Forehead.
conversation that I want to have. I want to have more of that conversation. Sorry, what did you say? Forehead. What's that? I don't understand what you're saying.
Forehead. Your forehead.
Exactly. And now
This
we're
is
having a
also
conversation about my forehead, and that's
no,
not a
your
conversation we
forehead.
need to
Your
have.
forehead. Your forehead.
I'm not having a
And this is
conversation
also
about
the
that
voice
either.
teacher that told me that when she kicked her roommate out who kept borrowing her clothes and using her things, and then she slammed the door in her face, and before she slammed the door in her face, she went, "You have poisoned my life."
Was your voice teacher a drag queen? I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. That's very rare. That's not a it's not a common thing. That's a great gift that you were given. It's fantastic.
No, she was a Democrat.
Well, that's to be expected.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! So good. She was a drag queen though. She always wore these shawls. She was always wrapped in a wrap, and she had a neural disorder, so she was always shaking.
I mean, you have just described like the stereotypical idea of what a voice teacher is to me in my head.
We had it. I had.
Every voice teacher I ever had always wore loose chiffony things, crystals,
Yes,
around this area,
yes. You have to take
hair
care. Yes,
perpetually a mess, like the wind was always just around them.
yes. You have to take care of your
Yeah,
throat. It's your most vulnerable center.
yeah.
Is that
That's what
why
we
you're
didn't talk
wearing
about
your
though.
shawl?
Fitzmaurice legacy.
Her
I'm not wearing
shawls?
shawls.
You're not wearing a shawl? That looks like a shawl,
I'm wearing a cardigan.
like a samurai. It's a samargan.
Exactly. The
Hey.
weather is starting to turn here, and it's
Oh,
and having left Melbourne, come back to the last 2 days of summer, and then the beginning of fall, winter here. It's yes,
oh. Is that why you're sniffly?
maybe
The flu shot didn't work.
could be. The flu shot worked too well.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, to make a flu shot or a vaccine, they use a little bit of the thing in the thing, and then your body is supposed to like see it, grab onto it, start making antibodies for it, but also it can be overwhelmed by it and it can give it to you. So I
So
had
now
the
you
flu.
have the flu.
Now I've got the flu,
So that's like
but I won't get the
counterintuitive
flu
then.
again. No,
What do you mean you
I
won't get the
won't get
flu
the flu
again
again.
until you get the
I
shot
won't get
again?
the flu again.
Ever in your life?
No, I can. No, next year. This year's strain. I won't get this year's strain.
Yes. Well, now apparently there's
Yes,
COVID shots too. That's going to be a
there've
yearly
always been
thing.
COVID shots.
That's what my mom says. This is going to be like a yearly thing, like a flu shot now.
Yeah, like vaccine,
Yeah, it's like a
vaccine top ups.
rep- repetitive top upage.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like you have to constantly redo yourself, reinvent yourself over and over again for the vaccine.
Yes.
And I tell you, it's not easy being an artist.
It isn't. That's a giant leap from vaccines to artists.
For vaccine to art, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because constantly have to reinvent yourself, just like the vaccine, just like it's a virus.
Mm,
Reinventing
indeed.
yourself, like Madonna's a virus. Because
I
she was
wouldn't say
constantly
that.
reinventing herself. She's reinventing herself like a virus that constantly
It's
reinvents
true.
itself, repatterns itself to maintain her relevance. Relevance? I'm so tired, Adam. I'm tired because I want to go to bed. You're tired because you got to wake up.
That's right.
I'm not going to bed until I'm done writing, and that's going to be about 3 a.m.
Oh, you could have done this much later then.
Uh-uh. I got the right, boy. I gotta go to school.
Hmm.
And I gotta figure out what the next best thing is for academia.
Why?
Because you have to constantly reinvent yourself, Adam Marple.
Yeah.
Yeah? See what I did there?
I, I am aware. Yes.
Are you picking the low dangling fruit?
I'm waiting for you to just bring the branch down a little bit.
Okay. What are we talking about today, Adam Marple?
Today we're talking about an article that was in the. They were talking about an
Is
article
that
that was
low
in the New
enough
York
for
Times
you? Is
Magazine.
that low enough for
Well, I
you,
was
Adam
waiting.
Marple?
I was waiting. I was waiting. I could see it coming. I knew it was happening. Just waiting for you to like
you
bring it home. That's all.
you haven't had a segue in a very long time. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're responding to an article that was in the New York Times Magazine that I sent you. That kind of made me stop uh, and think. It really kind of stopped me. Like as compared to our last article that we responded to, that was very kind of arresting and making everybody agitated, and a lot of energy was put out into the universe, but nothing was. It was mostly just about agitating. This is an interesting article um, that kind of stopped me to make me think, and I wanted to share it with Budi because I thought this
Mm.
would be an interesting thing to talk about. Anyway, the name of the article is called "Why Culture Has Come to a Standstill." A Times critic argues that ours is the least innovative century for the arts in 500 years. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. And so, yeah, the article itself basically says, in terms of cultural movements or artistic movements, ours last 50 years, nothing new in terms of each genre has been created or lasted. That we're stuck in a rehash period of sampling, of um, looking back with nostalgia on things, or um, not reinvention, but using existing tools to kind of play around the edges of things. And he talks about that with art, with music, with dance, with theater, of course. Um, and then at the end is the question, which is really what the question is it a bad thing if we don't constantly reinvent? Is it a thing where growth and progress is always the natural cycle of the arts, or is there something in the arts where referential um, treatment of past material, or respect for and use of um, older things that have come before, to the point where you are just sampling? Is that also a valid thing for it to be? Anyway,
Well,
that
I don't
was the.
even know if like Netflix is still doing this, but like Akshay was telling me about like the way that the corporate design of Netflix is that like only a few people remain at the top, and you get to a point, and there's always a point where you like reach the ceiling, and then they just fire you. Like you have to keep giving, you keep giving, you keep giving, and then when you can't give anymore, they just fire you. And like I just feel like it, and like when we're dealing like with like when we were in the corporate institutions of like the KPIs, the key performance indexes, where like you have to constantly tell tell the institution why you have value, and what are you working on next, and what are you working on next, and what are you working on next. I found that to be so confronting, and not a way of like confronting in a way where like I'm gonna conquer it. Confronting in a way of like where's the value of me being present
Yeah.
in this space,
Yeah.
and
Is
how
is
much
is
better
is
can you
my
be?
job to jump through? Is my job to jump through hoops, or is my job to teach the students?
Yeah.
Is my job to I have a tick box, I have a ladder I've got to climb, or is it the pedagogy around 21st century theater education? Yeah.
And I think that what this is systemic of is that if you're not at one of the top end institutions, they have to keep like verifying that the quality of what you're supposed to be bringing has value, as opposed to these the higher the big institutions that like um, David Geffen or NYU or Juilliard, like the teachers there are they're at the top of the game. So it's like that sense of being stalked by an institution to prove your worth doesn't isn't the same as it is in these smaller institutions where people are like being fed breadcrumbs and they have to constantly prove their value over and over again because it's this corporate model. And I honestly think that like the sense of the next best thing is not external. It's actually the other direction. It's an internal space. It's a space of awareness. It's a space of deepening. It's a space of clarity, and it's a space of presence that is going to be the next best thing, the next new thing. So when there's nothing else for you to project forward, where do you go? You go inward. You reflect, and I think that's really where the world is headed when we're talking about things that have value and things that are and the things that are moving us into a new cultural narrative. It's the internal reflection that is growing and that is necessary. I mean, because if you continue going in the way of the regurgitated space of your value is no more than a hashtag, it it's not it can't even be debilitating because it's so illusionary that it has no substance. Like it's literally substanceless. It took me forever to understand the hashtag world, the hashtag meme gift world. Like I would ask Akshay, like, can you just re-explain it to me again? Like, what is the hashtag again? Like what how why would I use this? Seriously. That was back and that's also when I went hashtag crazy. Remember that phase that I had all those hashtags because I was like, that's what it means. But like
Yeah.
that once again has fallen to the wayside because it has no value.
It only has the value that you give it.
It only has the value that you give it, which is it's valueless. It's an illusion. And I really do think that the the next huge artistic movement is moving into a realm of self-reflection. And I think COVID opened that up because we have a lot of people have had to spend a lot of time reflecting and finding value in things that are valueless and realizing that they don't have value, so I'm going to move on. And a sense of humility and kindness as we have war in the Middle East. It's like and they raid the White House and people are being assholes in Australia. It's like it's balance. Do you know what I've actually been falling into these days is my Joseph Campbell Power of Myth. Like really, like I used to like every time I would go back to um New York after Bali, I have that insane jet lag. And part of coming out of that insane jet lag is I would sit back and I'd watch the entire 6 hours of The Power of Myth. the conversation with Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell, and
Mm.
it was like it was I would be like in a hypnagogic state where like I was between wakefulness and sleep, and it would just come it just spill into my dreams, and I just listen to them talk about mythology and the comparative mythology, the world mythology, and how Joseph Campbell talks about how ritual is the enactment, is the actual enactment of myth. And then talk in how he talks about artists and our role as artists. And I've talked about this before about like when he says that our next realm of mythology is our relationship to the rest of the galaxy, the rest of the universe, to other beings, to other life forces, to other spaces, because it's no longer going to be about um, our connection to our neighbor, but it's going to be a connection to something bigger than ourselves, because he says time and processing information is happening so quickly that you don't have time, that it doesn't give you time for myth. It can't it because things are being processed and regurgitated and spun out so quickly. It doesn't have the gestation period to where a ritual is formed around it, where it becomes a myth.
Mm.
The ritual space that we now currently live in are TikToks and Instagrams and WhatsApps and iMessages, and that's a ritual. You wake up and you do your Duolingo. It's like your relationship to your phone becomes this ritual space. It was really funny because when the old man river, whenever I would like when we first got remember when we first got WhatsApp
Yes.
in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time we got like WhatsApp on the smartphones, and I was always like, so wait, so we communicate like this on WhatsApp? We don't just talk to each other? We don't like make a phone call or like, and it took me a long time to like understand that concept. And of course, it was introduced to me. This is, when I first was introduced to WhatsApp was before Akshay, and it was this young Indian boy that was like, "We can stay in contact, while I'm living in India." And I was like, "Huh? Well, how? What's that? What's that?" But one of the things that that was like wild was like I was having a relationship with my phone, which was so weird. and and I think, don't you remember this? I got kind of crazy around it because it was like I wasn't getting responses in the time that I wanted to get responses, and so it became this really horrible nightmare because I didn't understand the technology. And so you fast forward to now where it's just like you wake up and check your phone. You wake up, you check your phone. You wake up to check your phone for time, and then you check your phone for time, and then that spills you into all the other things that your phone is good for. And so because of this um, pattern of of confusion that happens when you wake up, it's as opposed to waking up, figuring out what your name is, seeing the light come through the window, cuddling with your loved ones and your animals, getting up for the day, doing your thing, actually having a realm of reflection. And I think that's the reason why all of the things that we grew up with are now back. Like, they've been back for a while, like LPs. They've been back for a long, they made a full comeback. Polaroids, full comeback. People wanting to actually have a relationship with objects as opposed and where they're building again and interacting with it and having emotional context with it. So then when you talk about making art for the next generation, it's interactive. It's reflective and it's interactive because people want to feel like human beings again.
But it's not new.
No.
And the question in the article is, um, should we feel bad that it's not new? That it's that this is this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Should we feel um, like we've lost something because we've not graduated to the next level of whatever?
Well, that sounds like a
We've not
question of
discovered
nostalgia.
the.
But that sounds like a question on nostalgia and not the actual theme of creating something new. Because I think people get upset and sad and feel bad nostalgically, and that's generational. That happens with every generation, you know. So, and we never know. We don't really know when something new is happening anyway until it's already happening. Go, oh, that's the thing. I loved his Missy Elliott uh,
Mm.
reference because it was revolutionary what she was doing. You know,
But that's the argument, that it wasn't, because nothing changed after. Like, nobody took the mantle and went on with it. Like, she did this. It's what he's saying. A lot of this is that it's not that people have not attempted, have not tried, have not stepped out there and done something different. This We've always seen something different.
but what mantle
It's
did
that
she?
it
Did she?
hasn't
She
grown.
like her whole style of hip hop video. She changed the whole narrative of like how hip hop video was going to be seen. She made it dynamic and fun as opposed to guys walking around and girls walking around raising the roof bouncing their cars. She had this whole animated like anime world, and then that opened up to Michael Jackson doing his stuff with Janet Jackson. I mean, like if you and so she was able to take the aesthetic not only through an audio means but also through a visual means, and so then everyone copied her beats, copied her whole Timberland themes. So she and Timberland became this sound that everyone wanted to have, and it's still present. So I think his understanding of Missy Elliott's impact on the movement is incorrect.
So you think that all the arts have stagnated, but the art of the music video has been revolutionized?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Not anymore. I mean, like now it's just back to same old to the point where
Well,
now
so the,
Korea just copies it.
we'll see, but that's the point. Then it's not really been a movement. We've all just it was it was an
The
aesthetic
movement stopped with
change.
Missy. The movement stopped with Missy. It's been the same since.
Okay.
So it's like it's so I would say okay. So then you have um well, what were the other example? Because he was using like what Manet or was it Monet? Mo, it was
Manet.
Manet, right? So
Yeah.
that's also you have to look at the time period of which the means of communication were happening, the forms in which the information
Well,
was being
that's I think
transferred, right?
I mean I think that's the whole point of the article, is that now we have all the ways of communicating, like all the like you just talked about, like this thing that it's in our hands all the time, and this thing that we're on right now. Our means of communication is vast. We can see every single culture, and every single type of art, and every single type of genre, and every single type of whatever exists out there. And then what we have become is self-referential and nostalgic, and nothing has developed into the next thing. Like in terms of like giant movements, I mean, the last giant movement that existed in the art world was postmodernism. And from then, whereas what he's saying is for, a couple hundred years, art reinvented itself every whatever. And giant, massively, you can look back and say there was Impressionism, and then there was abstract art. And those are vastly, giantly different, and they look different in the different arts as well. And the question is in the article is, we haven't leapt forward with all of our advances in technology and all of our advances in communication. We, as an art form, all art forms haven't moved forward. What we do now looks very similar to what was done in 1985 or 1955 for that matter. And very few things have changed or lasted in any art form to quote unquote move the art form forward. But then the question is that a bad thing? Is that something that we should feel bad about? Because for hundreds of years in all of the arts, they stagnated as well. And I'm not just talking about like ancient art, where for ancient times, for thousands of years, the art looked like that. And then, you know, it leapt forward. And then for 500 years, it looked like that. Is this a bad
I
thing
think
for us to be in this time period for ourselves?
I don't think it's a bad thing because we were also looking at movements that were segregated. You know, like you're looking at the movement of Picasso's like African art movement. You know, you're looking at Cezanne's representation of African bodies and themes and Caribbean themes. It's like it's and Camille Paglia for all of her complicated politics and scholarship. She talks about like, and she says things quite bluntly, like men created art just to get everyone fucking pissed off. And the whole reason why she says men created art is because they can't create themselves, so they create a club to keep out women. It was her essential narrative around that, but also but just looking at these schools of art, the institution of art. So that's one of the reasons why Jean-Michel Basquiat was so fantastic, because he broke the system. He and Andy Warhol broke the system. So I think I think when now that there is that globalization of access, that it's a good thing that we are now finding that there is nothing actually new and innovative. So if there's nothing new and innovative, what's left? Then what's left?
Mm, yeah.
Now what?
If you don't have to be new, if you don't, if you have been relieved of the burden of being new, of being revolutionary, of being innovative, then what do you make?
Yeah.
Then what do you do? Where do you spend your energy on? What stories do you want to tell? How do you want to tell it? You can't you can't create anything new. It's all been done before you. You have been relieved of that burden. So now what do you do? Now what do you make? I think
I love it.
that's a really good that's a really good but there's the thing, like that's what we should be teaching actually, is that is you it's all been done before, folks. It's somebody has been there before you. They've explored all the territories. There's nowhere left on the map that has been shaded out because nobody's been there. It's all been explored. It's all been gone to. You can't create a new movement. You can't um, introduce a new thing, but you still have the urge, the desire, the need to create.
Mm.
So, what do you create?
And I,
Yeah,
and
I
I
like
think
that.
also spiritual space is also really good, deepening your spiritual practice inside of your work. Not religious but
Yeah,
spiritual. One that connects us to
yeah,
all.
I'm thinking about, and I'm so kind of angry that I didn't get to see this, but from what I have seen online and what I've been heard from friends, especially from Stephen Galtney, is there was a show that I feel like is like that we missed, called Stephen's going to be mad at me because I'm going to mess this name up. Oratorio for what's it called?
This is the art show.
Not an art show. It was a oratorio for
Oh, this is
living
the music
things.
one. It's
That's the
the
name of it.
opera.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was the
I
opera.
mean, what
Yes.
was it? That's the point. Is like, is it an opera? Is it a musical? Is it just theater? It was this kind of weird thing that happened right at the tail end of COVID when people could first come back in, and it was a healing thing. I mean, Stephen even said, like, even with oratorio, there's a churchness to it. There is something that is like, think of your best moments if you have been to a religious space where you have been in community with other people in a religious space, and that's what it has been described as. That's what it feels like. Like whenever I went to church, I loved the singing part. I loved that everybody in the congregation stood up and we sang, and there was hand clapping, and there was joy, and there was also sadness, and that's a fun part.
I'm just having an
Like,
image of your church. Hand clapping. He's like, there was hand clapping and
yes,
singing for the Lord.
exactly. There
One,
was joy.
two, three. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's beautiful.
There was joy.
Sounds like you need to go back to church.
It sounds like we need to make better theater.
Oh, no, you didn't. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary conforming individuals, you heard it first here on Theater of Others. Adam Marple said, "Do not go to church. Make better theater."
The theater is my spiritual space. So
Hallelujah.
why are we not trying to make joyful spaces or spaces of reflection or contemplation?
Can our can our place have amen corners? Amen. Hallelujah.
I'd be
Woo!
happy with that. I'd be
I
happy
know,
with
me
that.
too.
That'd be fine.
We need some amen corners. Oh yes, they are acting that monologue. Ooh, come on, monologue. But that actually that
Could
actually
you
is
imagine? You tell him, Hamlet.
that's a Hamlet I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to see a
I
Hamlet where
think
the audience is so moved that they gotta talk back.
it's called
Don't do
Fat
it,
Ham.
Ophelia. Don't do it, girl. Don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Turn
I'm all
back
for
now.
that. Yes.
Turn back.
I want theater that they tell me was what Shakespeare and Brecht had. That's what I want. I want a theater where the audience is, if we gave them tomatoes, they would throw them at us if we were doing a bad job. That's the kind of theater I want.
Oh my god. Should we start serving food at our performances where people have tomatoes and they can decide what they want to throw it at?
What do you think I've always wanted to do? Of course. That's the only reason I want food served at my meals.
So they can
Instant
throw it at
instant
us?
notification if we're doing well. Yeah. And I'm not talking like some like Dixie Stampede medieval times serve us some food and we watch a joust or whatever on the other over there. We all get a chicken leg, we all get a piece of bread, and we all get some mashed potatoes. Like, no, like
What about the vegans?
yeah. They can get a fake turkey tofurkey kind of, amalgamation thing. Sure.
Or just a tomato?
Just a tomato, exactly. Just one beautiful tomato.
I would love to participate in a show where the audience is allowed to throw food at us. But see, I have a feeling that they would just start throwing food because it's fun.
Well, then maybe that's part of it as well, and we know that we know that's what it is. Literally, you have to work for your dinner tonight. So when you say chukas before you go on stage, literally, you are
Someone has
wishing.
to throw a
I hope
chicken.
somebody throws a chicken at you. I hope somebody throws a chicken at you. There we go.
Mama
Maybe
needs her
maybe that can
chicken.
be. Maybe we can do that with tall poppies. Maybe that would make sense.
Oh, are you plugging?
Yeah, already plugging away for next year.
Well, you've heard it. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary conforming individuals. Next, Melbourne Fringe, 2024. Theater of Others will be producing a play called Tall Poppies, starring Budi Miller and Fabio Mata, directed by directed by Adam Marple. Sound
And you get to
design.
throw food.
Fabio's gonna love that. Fabio's listening right now, and he's going, "Yay!" He's probably gonna call me right
Yeah.
now. And Jack David Burmeister will be doing the music. He'll be playing live, and Stephen Courtney will
Also
be doing the
covered in food.
dramaturgy and covered in food.
Yeah. I'd watch that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So Tall Poppies next year. Adam, for our international audience, what does Tall Poppies mean?
I think this is a purely Australian.
No, they
idiom.
have it in Scandinavia. It's called Yantala.
Okay. This idea that you can't get too far ahead. You'll get too big for your britches. So we've got to bring you down a peg. So the question is whether you should even try, because you're just going to be brought down a peg. So maybe you don't stick up above everybody else. So everybody just kind of conforms and just stays kind of mid height. It's where, I mean, a lot of the humor, the Australian humor, a lot of the Australian kind of cultural personality comes from of taking the piss, but it's this sense of like you're taking the piss because you're getting too big of yourself. You're getting too big of a head, so I got to bring you down a peg. But it also means maybe not everybody tries too hard either, because I'll grow too big or whatever. I don't know.
But it's also not easy to be a star. It's also not easy to be a star or an outlier.
You're not supposed to be a star. Yeah, you're not supposed to be culturally, historically. Yeah, in these respects, you're not supposed to be a star.
So, what?
I was just gonna say, like, it is the difference in the United States. The United States, everyone is told that they are a star. Our mythos of our country is about star power.
Yes,
One man,
a star is born.
one woman.
Yeah. Oh, so then I could be the star, and Fabio could be the poppy cutter.
Could be, or you're both just middling clowns who aspire for greatness but keep cutting each other back down.
Mid-level clowns.
To be mid-level clowns, yeah, middle management clowns, yeah,
middle management clowns.
Yeah,
excellent. So nothing gets done. So it'll be exactly what Chris Bay suggests: conflict-less theater.
Yeah.
Middle class. We could be middle class clowns.
Middle class, middle management, middling clowns. Yeah. Exactly. And the audience throws food. When they're ready for you to move on. When you're boo next.
Wow, that sounds like an expensive show. A lot of food.
Yeah, get his food sponsor.
Yeah, but then it's food wastage.
Not
That's not
necessarily.
sustainable.
Not
Oh,
necessarily.
you're talking about like used garbage food, like garbage from the bar.
No, maybe expiring food. Food that
Ugh.
expiring food that supermarkets throw out because it is on the last day of its whatever and it would just be thrown away otherwise.
Okay, I'll have expiring food from Japan
What?
because it's still fresh.
You want us to import food that's expiring from Japan and you're worried about sustainability?
Okay, maybe that's a bad idea. My question is, are
Yes.
you guilt? Do you feel bad about not making new things?
No, I actually feel relief maybe that we don't have to. I think it's a good thing. Um I think it's a good thing to not have the burden of new, of novel, of revolutionary, of it's on your shoulders to change it. No, it's not. No, it's really not.
That's a really, it's a, and it's also a lie. Like no one does it alone. Like
Of course not.
no successful person does it alone.
Yeah.
You don't just like all of a sudden like you got it and like it's there. Like there are teams of people that work together to make one vision happen. So the whole concept of
Yeah.
like you have to be the next, it's like even when you see our favorite Virgo, Beyonce, it's like it's a machine,
Hmm.
and it's like, but even when you have a small little theater company like Theater of Others, it's a team effort to get all the stuff that
Absolutely.
that we've been able to do. You go to
Absolutely.
Bali and train in Bali. It's like communal effort. Like we've got Wayan Tawan and the Balinese, Pat Dibia and Gustut and Kutut and it's like you don't you can't do it by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. So maybe the next generation of art really is the realm of telling the truth, living in truth, living in self reflection.
Well, we talked about this before of saying, with AI doing what it's doing, the last place that you can find the real, maybe, or the last place where that you're dealing with the real, you can't fake, is the theater,
Yeah.
is the live performing arts. Like there's authenticity. Borba was even, like Andrew was even saying, like authenticity is where we're leaning back into again.
Mm.
So if theater is inherently fake and all we can offer is authenticity, that's a really interesting place to play. I don't also need to have novel, new, and revolutionary on top of that.
Hmm.
I'm
Which I think is
reminded of,
quite
I remember
fascinating.
reading,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was reading this, this is a long time ago. It was a long, long time ago, which started me on my journey of thinking about the audience and what we're talking about now. It's like maybe 2005, 2006. And I was reading about, obviously, religion, organized religion has taken a massive dip. Like like attendance at church has gone down a lot since our parents' times. Um, whether spirituality has or not, that's not the question. But organized religion around church or temple
Mm.
or mosque has gone down by generation. Simultaneously, has gone up in you know um, more
Mega
conservative quarters,
churches.
but the majority of churches of things like that have gone down. Um, and so they were looking at these alternative spaces where people would meet, And there was a thing called the Church of Craft, where every Sunday people would get together and they would crochet together, or they would do macrame, or they would do, like some kind of crafting thing. And it was the thing, and they were saying, like, what hasn't changed is the need for community, the need for getting together and having something common holding you together for that time period. That it used to be bowling leagues, or it used to be, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, or it used to be a thing where people from different corners of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different racial backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds would come together around a thing and be in community with each other. So while most churches look like themselves, and it's not looking like the community, as what was it, Martin Luther King that said way back in the day, the most segregated hour in America is the 11 to 12 hour on Sunday, right? It didn't necessarily change throughout time, but these other things could bring together people from outside of their normal community into a thing. The Church of Craft, or the Church of Running. They're even using the church, because it's a concept that we understand what it kind of is,
Which
to bring
is like
together people
your
around something else.
book, The Gathering, The Art of Gathering.
Exactly.
Takes you right
Exactly.
to
If you
your,
tell,
your
like, we're going to do
book.
the church of, okay, I know what church is. I know what that
Okay, what
is. I
church
know what
would
the
you what
meaning of
church
that
would you
is. I
have?
know.
Do you have the church of what? Mexican food?
I'm the Church of Theater. No, I don't want the Church of Theater. I want
Church of
theater that
burrito?
is Church of Burritos. Yes. I want a theater that is reminiscent of the best church and a sporting event.
Mm.
That's what I want my theater to be. That's what I've always wanted my theater to
Mm.
be. Never lived up to it, I don't think, but I've always been striving for that.
So what would you need to do that other than money?
Right, I was going to say it's like about $75,000. I'll be very happy.
$200,000. That's more than that's the budget for the whole year, Adam, and
That's
that's
for the
including
holistic
swimming.
period. That's including swimming.
Yeah.
There's no swimming. Maybe that's what we need. We need swimming in our shows. Swimming and food throwing. There we go.
Then we'll all
That's
have
what I need.
cramps.
No, they're not eating the food. They're throwing the food.
I think it's time for a break.
Okay.
You've gone to food fighting. I think it's time for a break.
Yeah, why not?
Food fighting in your church of theater.
Yeah.
um, shall we take a break and then come back with some provocations?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary conforming individuals, you're listening to the stereo sounds of J D B. Jack David Burmeister, baby. And we're back. Wow. Jack, that was super sexy. Super
Yeah.
sexy. Super
Like a
sexy.
Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like a Friday night and a summer's eve.
Summer's Eve. Wow.
Yeah. Get fresh.
Okay. Douche.
It's Friday and I'm ready to swing. So, Adam,
That's
do you
me.
have any provocations?
I've been thinking about, like, how do I express this further? And the only thing I think is, like, can you think? I do this all the time. I say that, oh, this is in my top 5, most amazing theatrical moments, or this is in my top 10 of plays. And we We even did a podcast about our top 5 plays. Um,
Oh, is it time to
I
come
want you
back
to
to that?
no, no, but I think it's around this topic is dear audience member, I want you to think of your top theatrical moments. I want you to think of like what like truly moved you. Not like, oh, that was really cool, because that's still in the realm of novelty, but really think about like what are the plays, what are the moments, what are the shows that you've experienced where it's like it was mind blowing, like you had never seen anything like this before, like this was so completely new, it was revolutionary. And I just want you to like think about those things, think about those moments, count
Revolutionary.
them. Yeah, well, in
Count
terms of
them.
like,
Okay.
I've never seen anything like this before. I've never experienced anything like this before. I don't have a point of context even to go, oh, it's like, because it's so unlike anything before. I think it's good to take stock of if you have even experienced that and what those things are. Because it's not that people haven't tried over the last 50 years to do stuff. It's just not necessarily stuck and moved us forward. But I think it's good for us to kind of go like, oh, the first time I saw a Romeo Castellucci work, it was like unlike anything I'd ever seen before. I had no point of reference for it. But now he's just self-referential. Oh, the same thing with Bob Wilson. First time I saw a Robert Wilson piece was like, oh my God. But
Hmm.
it has become self-referential and it hasn't moved forward. It's just its own kind of category.
You know who mine is?
Who?
Martin McDonough.
Yeah,
He gets me every time. Pillow Man, Beauty
yeah.
Queen Lenon. What's the Billboard one?
Three billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
And then the new one, the new Irish one.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
He gets me in those. Oh, is it my turn for a provocation?
It's just your turn of
Provocation.
provocation. Yeah. That's my provocation. Make your list of things that have truly unhinged you when watching it.
My provocation is if we are saying that self-reflection and deepening your practice and process is the new black, how does that um, apply to your work? How do you engage that in your work? And I really want to know. I really want to know how you do that.
Yeah.
And how will I know that, Adam Marple?
Or
How
they're
will I
going to go to
know?
SpeakPipe. They're going to go to speakpipe.com/theater of
Uh,
others.
uh,
That's how we're going to know.
oh, oh,
Yeah. Go to speakpipe.com/theater of others. Theater with an R-E. Theater of others, all one word. Leave a 90-second voice message there. We'll play it on air. You'll let us know what you have experienced, what you're working on. And you can go to podcast@theaterofothers.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and our website. Um,
oh! We're on Instagram.
yeah, there we go. Come on.
We on the gram, y'all.
Yeah. Uh, and how will they know? How will they know about these exciting, unhinged topics that we're talking about weekly?
They're
Budi, how are
going
they there?
to subscribe, 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 subscribe. We come to your inbox week, week. Isn't that how your people say it, Adam Marple? Week.
My people.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yo
does that
people.
mean?
Week. We come into your inbox. And how you gonna know if you don't subscribe? And if you like us, you can do like my Uber driver does. You can give us 5 stars. I give you 5 stars. You give me 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. It's a win-win game. Everybody win. Er, er, everybody win. And if you like it so much, you can write down and give us a little comment and say, I wish I could give them 6 stars because they're so good. And then it goes to the algorithm. And then we become not the top 5% podcasts in the world. We become
Mm.
the top 1% podcasts in the world. And you know who's coming. You know who's coming. When we become the top 1%, who, Adam?
Oprah.
Oprah. Exactly. And then after Oprah, who? Beyonce.
The Virgo.
The Virgo. Yeah, exactly. And then Michelle Obama.
Yep.
So, I mean, we have 3 queens on their way with
It's true.
a 1%. We need a 1%.
It's true. True facts.
Oh my God. Is that like false advertisement?
No, it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
That's we are definitely going to try. If we get to
Yeah.
top 1%, if we
Yeah.
get to top 1%, I feel like that we have a legitimate possibility of getting one of those ladies on the show.
In that order.
I don't know. Which one would be hard? Which one would be easier, actually?
Oh, we can't let them know because we don't want to offend anybody.
No, it's true. We shouldn't say because they're
So
listening.
maybe we should add Kamala Harris to the list too.
Really? Really?
On that note, I'll see you next week, Adam Marple. And same with y'all. Same with y'all. We'll be back in your inbox next week. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Theater Brothers podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theaterbrothers.org, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. A special thank you to Purple Planet for the music you've heard. The Theater Brothers creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purposes of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task and requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? Be sure to tune in next week for our next journey.